Alrighty, by my time keeping device, it looks like it is 5 o'clock, so I'm going to get started. I hope you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Yay. Thumbs up if you can hear my dulcimer. Yay. Alright. So, yes?
Linda, this is Shelley, and I have no picture, so I don't know if it's my end or what, if anyone else has that. I can hear everything, so that'll be fine. I have no picture.
Okay. Shelley, I think what you said, you broke up a lot, but I think you were saying that you can't see a picture. Uh,
Yeah.
Bonnie or Kathy or Bill, can you chime in about seeing my face with my purple shirt?
Yes, I can see it just fine.
Okay. All right. Today we're going to play a bunch of holiday music. And I have no idea if we're going to get to all of these tunes or not. But we will try. Along the way, I may point out a few things. It turns out that holiday music, because it's music that we know so well, just from singing it for so long and for so many years, it's really good music to work on certain aspects of playing your dulcimer, like playing smoother, and other aspects of playing the dulcimer. So I will point out some of those areas when we get to those tunes in different parts of them. But I don't intend to stop in the middle like I usually do and go into a long discussion about that. I might, if it turns out that people want more of that, I'm happy to do a longer presentation on that in the coming months. All right, so the recording is on, and I will send that out to you. Typically, I get those out on Fridays after our session. And I just ask, like any Zoom session with a dulcimer, it's helpful if you keep your microphones muted while I'm playing. There will be time to unmute and talk, but if something is going wrong, if something, you don't hear something or something doesn't seem right, please do just go ahead and unmute and call it out, because when I'm looking down to play my dulcimer, I'm not actually looking at the screen, so I can't see a hand raised or any other information in the chat window. So if something is going wrong, just please unmute and shout it out, even if I'm playing. Okay, and with that, we'll do a quick tuning check. I know not everybody does this, but I like to make sure. And so I'm going to switch my video. And every time I switch my video, I have to make sure, let's make sure that the camera is seeing the video. Yay, okay. I have to make sure that, yes, okay. Alright, so I always start tuning from my bass string, and then work towards my melody string. So let me see if I can reposition this a little bit so that's a little easy. Sorry, my thumb is in the way there. Okay, cool. Alright, so bass string, I gotta tune that up a little bit. There we go. Now I've got the green light. And if you're counting, that's the D below middle C on a piano keyboard. It's also referred to as D3. Okay, and then the middle string, that needs to go up a little bit. Oops. Okay, there's the A. And again, that's the A below middle C on a piano keyboard. And that needs to go up a little bit. Okay. So that's the melody string. That's That's the D above middle C. It's also referred to as D4. Alright, I'm trying to figure out how this is going to work. Okay, good. So, does anyone have a favorite Christmas carol that's on the list that we definitely want to get to? I offer that to, you can unmute and shout it out. Not really? Okay, so we'll start off in the order that I have them. The first one is Angels We Have Heard on High. So let me get the screen share up for that. This song has two versions that's available in the tab. The first is a melody-only version, and that can go away. So the melody-only version looks like that. Starts on a 2, goes up to 4. The tab available for this song is also, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back there. Is also available in a version with chords, and it looks like that. Just a brief note about kind of smoothing out this tune. If you notice, the first 3 are you're fretting at 2, and I fret with one of my fingers, middle finger or ring finger, that 2. Right? It's very nice, very pretty. And then when it comes to the 4, I just drop my thumb on the 4. Okay? What you don't want to do is this kind of choppy sound by lifting up your finger and then lifting up a finger and putting it down on 4. So kind of the first rule of smoother playing is understanding you only have 3 strings, and those strings will stop ringing if you lift a finger up. So you always, if your finger is down, you don't want to lift it up if you don't have to. And in this situation, by using another finger, you can just drop that down on the 4 and make a much smoother transition from the 2 to the 4. If you look at the 3rd line of music at the chorus, the Gloria part, it starts with a chord of 0, 5, 4, and if you're playing chords, I would suggest making sure your index finger stays available to come down on that 5. Okay, if that makes sense. And that, again, you're smoothing out the playing. You're not jumping from 5, 4 to hit the 5 and then back to 4. Okay, you're just and then if you are playing the chords, there are parts where it's really helpful to memorize what's going on, right? So it's just really helpful to know that you're going to do this progression down the fretboard, and then you have to hit a 1, 1, 3. So that's the other part of smoothing it out, is making sure you're practicing this enough so that you know what's coming ahead. All right, I am going to leave up this version, if that's okay with folks. If you are just a melody only player, you can just play the melody from this. That's the bottom line of numbers, and you play it all on your melody string. There's only a couple of places where it goes up on the middle string. The handwritten zeros that you see in this version are just extra notes. You don't have to play them at all. They're just what are called grace notes. here we go. We're going to play slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, how did folks do with that? Okay, good. Do we want to play it a little faster? Thumbs up for faster. Okay, everyone's going to go faster. I like that. Alright, so let's get that back up there. Alright. So, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Alright, how do people do with that one? Good speed? Okay, alright, good. So I did a whoops in there, and it's important to recognize that when I'm teaching, when I'm showing people how to do things, I say whoops if I make a mistake. If I was performing, and I am not a performer, I do not like to perform playing the dulcimer, but if I were performing, you really wouldn't want to say oops. You just want to keep going. And just like if you're playing with a group or jamming with a bluegrass, band, just keep going. Almost no one is going to hear that you made a mistake. So just bear that in mind. People make mistakes all the time, and that it's amazing that people just can't hear them. All right, shall we move on to Little Drummer Boy and keep going? So Little Drummer Boy, there's some, this is the tab that I have provided is just melody. There are chords indicated above the musical notation, and if you wanted to, you could play the chords. Just strumming the strings open is a D chord. It's a version of a D chord. You can also play a D chord just by pressing, just by fretting 2 and at the melody string, and you're bass string and middle string are open. That's a full D chord. A G chord is open on the bass, 1 in the middle, and 3 on the melody. So that's a G chord if you wanted to play that. And then an A chord is a 1 on the bass, open on the middle, and 1 on the melody string, or 4 open 4. Okay, so there's chords at you can play chords at different locations on your fretboard, and it's important if you're going to play chord melody style to really memorize what those chords are, so that you can access them quickly. But we're going to play Little Drummer Boy. We'll start slow and then take it a little faster. It's a kind of slow song. Another point to make about these is it always helps to sing them at least in your head, and then the notes tend to come out on your dulcimer a little bit easier. Alright, so we'll play this again. This is in 4/4 timing like the last one. We'll just count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty good for people. There is that one section in the middle that can trip people up a little bit. It's the section that starts where the D7 is. So it's a 6. It's on the last measure of the 3rd line. And the thing what I'd like to say is it's a repeating pattern. The pattern repeats 3 times. It just repeats a little bit lower down on the fretboard. So you start on that 6, right? And then you're going to go up to 5 again. And you're on the 2, and now you're going to go back up to 4. So often in music, in these tunes, there are going to be repeating patterns like that. And if you can find those patterns and practice those patterns, it helps learn to play the song a little bit smoother and a lot faster. So how are we feeling? Do we want to play this again? Same speed, a little faster? Thumbs up for faster? Okay, cool. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. So, the next song is Jolly Old St. Nicholas. This song includes all of those chords that we did before, plus a couple of other ones, and they're pretty straightforward. And yeah, it's a great song to get strumming back and forth and really get into. So let's give it a try. This is 2/4 time, which means there's 2 beats per measure, and the quarter note has the beat. So I'm just going to count to 4 like we did before, and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the beginning. How did people do on that one? Thumbs up is okay? So-so? Thumbs up? Yeah. Okay. I did play it a little faster the first time through. Maybe we should slow it up one time. Essentially you're playing a D chord, an A chord, B minor, G, back to D, and then you're doing this is the second line, the measure just before the last measure. You have this a little bit complicated. To make it easier, you can just play the 2 and the 3 on the middle string. Right? And that makes it a little easier to play that. So just 2, 3 on the middle string, 1 on the melody, 2 on the melody, and then back to the 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1 at the end of that line. So let's take it a little slower. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops! Supposed to be open at the end. How's that for people? Better? Okay, cool. Remember, it is 2/4 timing, and the quarter note has the beat. So if you look at the first line of the measure, all of those quarter notes have one beat. So it's, and then we're 2 more quarter notes, and then that's actually going to be like a little hold, you know. So the timing gets a little wonky on the 2/4 timing, but you'll figure it out. And if you can't figure it out from the written music, just sing it to yourself while you're playing, and that's always the best way, actually. Alright, moving on. We're at Away in a Manger. Now this song has a lot of notes up on the middle string. So my suggestion is to just play those notes as best as you can. I would also suggest, maybe to try varying which way you strum these notes. So you can try strumming out, right? And that will sound a certain way. You can also try playing the song by strumming in the whole time. And that has a different kind of sound. And when you're playing music and you're usually repeating the tune a number of times, it's a good idea to vary the way it sounds from one time you play it through to the next time you play it through. So the other thing you can do is try strumming farther down in your strum hollow. Like normally I'm strumming way up here, but if I move my hand back towards my strum hollow, it'll sound even more, it'll sound in a different way. So as you practice this song, it's a good idea to, try those different ways. Alright, and we're going to play it really slowly. It's in 3/4 time, so I'll count 1, 2. Well, I'll count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Whoops. And I know we have to play that again because I messed it up so badly. I'm also going to not use a pick for this second time. I'm going to just use my fingers because I like it better that way. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I'm messing up badly. Alright, I'm going to start from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Alright, so challenging, even for me, to play this song, but worth it in the end. And again, it's one of those songs that you just need to practice and play it slowly, and practice, over and over again, practice the measures that are more difficult. Alright, moving on. The Dreidel Song. This is one of the things to notice about this particular tab is, I'm going to turn on my editing things here. So I'm going to just circle this for a second. Yep. So if you see this note, and this note actually belong to the measure before. Okay. And it just so happens that when the arranger made this song, made this tab, they decided to move this note down here to make it, you know, a little easier to understand the timing of this song. And in reality, the best way to know the timing of any song is to just sing the song and know the tune. But as I say, just bear in mind that those notes down there don't really belong where they are. And that's okay, because it you know, it is what it is. Alright, so I will count to 4 and we will come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, how was that for people? It's okay once you know the melody. It's pretty simple to play. But again, it's an opportunity to smooth stuff out. So I'm almost never lifting my one open one, especially when I go up to the 4. Right? You never lift that. And it's just you drop your thumb on the 4 and bring it down, and that's just a way of smoothing that whole passage out. So we're going to play this again, or thumbs up for moving on. Okay, all right. As I said, we do have a lot of songs to get through. All right. Deck the halls. The one thing about Deck the Halls that's important to notice is that you sort of have 2 sections at the beginning which sound exactly the same. And then that repeats. And then the third line and now we get to the last 2 measures of the third line. And really the only thing to know is to memorize it. You know, the easiest way to play that is to memorize it, because you're going fast and you're going up and you're coming back down. To play it up to tempo, to play it up to the speed you'd like to play it at, I suggest just practicing that over and over again to the point where you know where you're going and you don't have to look at the music. You can look at your hands on your fretboard instead. Alright, we're going to play it slowly. Again, I'll count to 4 and we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Messed that part up again. Doing it again. Second line. better, Lina. Alright, how did that go for people? Is it a little too fast? Do you want to play it slower? Thumbs up for slower. Or no, okay, that was good for people. Yeah, okay, good. So it's a great version of this. One ways there are a lot of chords in this version, and one of the things you could do if you wanted to change up those chords a little bit, like for example on the last line of music, you're starting out with a D chord, a 2, 3, 4 chord, and then there's a very short G chord back to the D chord. So you could just pick that 3, do the 4, the 2, 3, 4, and then just pick that 3. So the way it is written, it sounds like this. That first measure on the last line. So that the way it's written, and that's moving a lot of fingers at a lot. You could also play it. And that second time when I played it, all I did was I just moved my thumb down and picked that 3, keeping the D chord in place. Make sense to people? Yep, okay, good. Alright, moving on. Silent Night. Now this is one that you really eventually want to really smooth out as much as you can. And you can play it with a pick. It's okay to play it with a pick, but I would also suggest try playing it with your fingers. Now let's ignore my fretting hand for a minute and look at my strumming hand. I just have an index finger on my melody string, my middle finger on the middle string, and my ring finger on the bass string. Right? So I'm only using those 3 fingers, and each one has its own separate string. And so when I play this, oops, let's play it, Lina. So if it's for the total chord at the beginning, I pluck all 3 strings at the same time. And then when it's the 0 on the bass string, I'm only plucking the bass string with that assigned finger. And then the 5 on the middle, and then 4 in the middle, I'm plucking with that assigned finger. So essentially what you do is assign a string to one of your fingers. Now some people use a thumb and their 2 fingers, and that's fine too. I just never really got the hang of it that way, and I use my thumb. I press my thumb up against the fretboard on this side to hold my hand in place. Alright, so let's give it a whirl. We'll play it really slowly. And this does go up high on your fretboard. So if you only want to hit those melody notes, that's fine too. But the other way to get high on your dulcimer fretboard with ease is to push your dulcimer so it's almost falling off your lap, so you have access to these frets, easier access to these frets. Of course, don't push it all the way off your lap so it is actually falling on the floor. That's why I have a strap. Alright, I'll count 2, 3, and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3. How people feeling about that? It does get pretty high, and again, it really only comes from playing this song about 1,000 times that you get comfortable going up that high. That's one thing to note. Also, it's important to recognize that some of these extra notes, like if you look at the first two measures, you've got the 0, 3, 4. That's definitely a melody note. That's the chord for silent, for the beginning of silent. And then it has this 0 on the bass string. And then 5, 4. So if you're singing this song, Silent Night. So the 4, 5, 4, 2 are part of the melody of the song. But the zeros, the extra zeros that are in there, are not part of the melody of the song. They're extra ghost notes. And so if you're playing with your fingers, what you can do is try and play those ghost notes a little softer than the actual melody notes, right? So let me try that. Do you see how the ghost notes compared to the melody notes are a little softer? It's just a nice way to emphasize the melody while you're adding ornamentation to the song, and is something that's typically done as you advance and get more professional in playing. Does that make sense? Okay, it's hard to do that when you're using a pick to pick the notes. It's hard to make the certain strings sound softer. Shall we play this one more time? Yes? Thumbs up? Yes. Okay, cool. Same speed. Thumbs down for same speed, or thumbs up for same. Okay, thumbs up for same speed. Okay, cool. 1, 2, 3. Alright, great. And I think you probably noticed that I added some retards in there at the end, I'm holding that a little longer to, just give it a little flourish at the end. Alright, what time is it? Ooh, 1:15. How are we doing on our tune list? All right, we're good. We're doing well. Okay. So the next song is on my list is the First Noel, and this also has two versions. So there's a version with chords, and there's a version that has just melody that I provided, and you can play whichever one you want. Doesn't matter. I think the one thing I would like to point out with the First Noel 4, this is another example of a song that you want to keep really smooth. Right? So the other principle of keeping things smooth, right, is so if you're looking at this chords and you're playing the chords, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me get my little pencil-y thing up. In here, okay, so you're at a 5, 6, 7. You don't want to move your 5 and 6 finger to get that 6 plus. Those have to continue to ring as you move to the 6 plus. And then you have to move them all very quickly to the 3, 3, 5. Okay? So it's important to pick fingers that are going to work for you for that kind of tricky transition. And that's, you know, if you're working on smoothing out how you're playing. This 5 needs to keep ringing, this 6 needs to keep ringing, and then you're just going to move your thumb down from the 7 to the 6.5 to get that, and then move everything as quickly as you can to the 3, 3, 5. Alright, so if you are just playing melody, again, the song, you can just play the 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 is the bottom line of the notes all through the song. That's fine. Let's get rid of the editing part. Ooh, let's get rid of that. Ah, messing up here. Come on. There we go. Alright, and the other thing I would point out about this song, if you notice, most of the lines of the music, there's a combination of just picking single notes and playing chords until you get to the third line of the music, and then it's all chords. But you as the player can decide, I'm not going to play all those chords. I'm going to play starting at the third line, I'm going to play the 4, 5, 7, but then maybe I'm just going to pick the 6 and 6.5 and then go to the 3, 3, 5, and then you do want to get the 2, 3, 4 as a full chord, because that's a beginning of a new measure. So there's certain places where it helps, where it makes sense to cut out some of the chords, and other places it doesn't. Another place, there's a repeating pattern in the song of there's one example at the end of the third line of the music, and another example towards the end of the song, the last 2 measures. It's a 5, 5, 7, and as written it goes to a 2, 2, 4, and then a 1, 1, 3, and then a 2. That's a lot of notes in a row. I would probably change this up to play 5, 5, 7, and then grab the 4 with my pinky, right? Just to break up all those chords a little bit. But it's each to his own and how they like to hear the song, really. Alright, so we're going to play this through. I'll count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Whoops. Ah! Whoops, sorry. Messed it up at the end. Alright. thumbs up for playing it again at the same speed. Thumbs down for a little slower. Oh, cool. So I got a couple of thumbs up. Anyone want to go slower? Let's see everyone. Okay. So let's go about the same speed. I'll try. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right. Woohoo! How is that for folks? Good. Okay. All right. And moving on. So silver bells. I'm going to try and make this a little bit bigger. Now, this was offered up by one of our participants as a song they'd like to learn to play. I just started playing it, so I'm not very good at it. Let's put that out there right away. And so I thought it would be a great way of introducing the concept of how I approach learning the music, right? So the first step is really to learn the melody, right? Which I just play. When I do that, I'm just going to play the melody notes, right? Oh, now there's a 6.5 in the middle. Okay, and a 6. Right? So that's sort of like the first approach to learning the music. The next approach I take is to try and do the fretting for the middle string and the melody string. In this case, so again, I'm not playing the full melody, the full chords. Then, once I think I have it or want to try to move on, then I try the full chords. Woohoo! That gets a little tricky. Do you see how I'm modifying the tab just as the tab is written? I'm only picking certain things to play, right? So let's play through the song. I'm gonna play just the melody notes, just because I don't play it that well. and I want to do justice enough so that you guys can play it. And in this case, it's 3/4 timing, and I'm going to count to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we'll come in. All right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Of what we played before. And now the chorus. So there you go. It's sort of a work in progress. And again, as I say, it's a much more difficult song than the other songs that we've been playing, but it's certainly doable. Just takes lots of practice, and particularly on some of those trickier transitions if you're going to play the full chords. And as I say, to work up to those full chords, I play half chords as I'm just playing the middle and the melody note, not and just letting the bass string go at an open. Does that make sense to people? And how to approach a more complicated arrangement like this? Cool. All right. Let's move on. Oops. To We Three Kings. Now this is again a song that, everything is a chord. And you might, if you want to put some air into it, you might want to play the chords and then pick the passing note. It's called a passing note, where we're going from a 3, 4, 5, and there's a 4, and then 1, 1, 3. So, some people would call, play this. If you hear, if in that, and I'm just picking the passing melody note that single note, as opposed to playing the whole chord. So again, as it's written, it would sound like this. Which is perfectly fine, sounds great. But if you wanted to give it some air a little bit, you can just, as I say, pick the passing notes. Thumbs up if you heard the difference between those two versions. Yay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So again, the purpose of playing music is to put your own soul, your own emotion, your own feelings into the music, and you get to choose how to do that. The tab on the page is a representation of how to play it. You have to put your own spin on that in any situation. Alright, so let's play this straight up. I will count to 3 and we will come in. 1, 2, 3. Oops, I went the wrong way with the music. There we go. Sorry. Oops. Ugh. Alright, let's start from the beginning again because I messed up with the music and I messed up playing it. Alright. So I'll count to 3 again. Was that speed okay for people? Thumbs up if that was okay, or thumbs down if you want it slower. Thumbs up, I'm seeing. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oops. I don't even know what I'm playing. I'm playing a different song entirely in my head. Alright. Again, starting from the beginning. 1, 2, 3. Starting from that line, I'll count to 3 and we'll come again. And I just have to get my brain around it. 1, 2, 3. Westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to the perfect light. And if you notice the way I got my brain around it is I sang it. I'm not a good singer. I realize I'm not a good singer. I'm not hoping for any bonus points for singing. It's just, it really does help to get the melody out on your fingers playing the dulcimer if you sing it. Alright, let's start from the beginning one more time since I played so horribly. Oh, my foot pedal. Come on. Is my foot pedal not working now? Oh no. Okay. Well, that'll be fun. Okay. Let's try that again. There we go. Alright. I'm going to have to quickly turn the pages with my... Yep, my foot pedal has died. Alright. 1... I'm going to count to 3 and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3. Turning the page. I can't do it. Why can't I play this part? Westward. Nope. Westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Alright, yay. I promised I practiced this song. Alright, shall we move on? In the Bleak Midwinter. Thumbs up if you've ever heard this song before. Yay! Cool. Alright. It's a really pretty song. And it goes really well on the dulcimer. Again, you know, if you're just beginning, you could just play the melody line. And it's just as pretty. One thing I would suggest, if you are advancing up and a more advanced player, then consider, because there are no ghost notes written on the tab, it's just the melody notes. with the chords. But there's no extra notes in here. Consider putting some ghost notes in. By ghost notes, I mean playing other strings. And one place to recognize where ghost notes will fit in is where you have a note that you have to hold that's longer. Obvious place at the end of each line is a whole note, and you're holding that for 4 beats. That's a long hold, right? So you can add some little arpeggiated ghost notes in there. The other less than obvious place is the second measure, where you have like a 3 or a 2 beat hold. You can add some ghost notes in there too. And just try to play whatever comes to your mind, and you'll be adding something to this that is uniquely you. All right, I'm going to count to 4, and then we will come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty, huh? Okay. So, really, easy to point out that there's really only 2 different lines of music in this melody, right? You have the 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and that actually is the first line, most of the second line, and the last line. And it's only the third line that's different. So again, like I was talking about earlier, it's helpful to look through the music and hear those patterns, because then you can really help yourself learn how to play the song. And other couple of notes about in terms of smoothing this out. So I'm playing with a ring finger on the 2, the first note, and then I'm using my other fingers, but my 2 stays down when I play the 3 and the 4, because I know I'm going to play the 2 again. So I'm just leaving that down. And then the 2, 1, 1. Then to get the 0, I'm not lifting my fingers off the bass and the middle. I'm only lifting my finger off of the melody. Does that make sense to people? That again, you have to always remember you only have 3 strings. I mean, you may have your melody string doubled, so you have 4 strings, but essentially the doubled melody is always considered a single string. So essentially you have only 3 ringing notes, and you have to do whatever you can to keep as many of those notes ringing in each measure of the song to make the sound smooth out. Alright, so let's play this again. I'll count to 4, and then we'll come in again. 1, 2, 3, 4. so I'm just going to quickly, just as I was saying about earlier, you can arpeggiate, add some ghost notes. So another way, example of playing this would be, whoops, sorry, played it wrong. So all I really did was add in a few picked strings in a couple of places. In particular, at the end of the measure, at the end of each line, the last measure, I'd strum the chord, and then I'd pick the bass string and the middle string. So like that. For the end measure, the last measure, instead of picking the bass and the middle, I just did opposite. And the reason for doing that is I end on the D note, which is the key of the song, so it feels like a resolution. The song is over at that point. Does that make sense to people on how to add in some of those notes that just give it a little extra woof? Alright, we are at 6:15 and we have 3 more songs, woohoo, on my list. Alright, so let's move on. Oh, I can't use my foot pedal. O Come, Emmanuel. This is a great song. I love it. It does take a little work to figure out which fingers are you going to use. One principle I like to tell people is you don't want to wrench your wrist back and forth like this. You know, like I'm showing on, if you can see my dulcimer, when you're finding fingering to use, you want to try and do as much fingering so that your hand is just sort of gently pointing away towards your left knee if your left hand is fretting. And that can be a little tricky on this song. And again, you're going to just need to use a lot of different fingers and your thumb. If anyone needs help with strengthening their fingers and their thumbs, I have 2 different exercises I can email you that literally just work your fingers. One of them just works your fingers in a couple of different patterns, and then the other one works your thumb. Okay, so this is in 4/4 time. There is a pickup note, so I'm going to count to 3, and then we will come in. 1, 2, 3. How is that for people? Thumbs up? Okay. Yay! It's a really pretty song. And And I also like to finger pick it, so we'll do that this time. So I'll count to 3 again, and we'll come in. 1, 2, 3. Right, one of the things I forgot to mention the last time about finger picking is when you practice it, you can get to a point where you're sort of arpeggiating the chord by just slightly delaying your fingers as you pick them. And that makes sense for a lot of these chords in this music. But then there are certain places, like when you get to the rejoice on the almost at the bottom. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth line of the music. You probably just want to blurt that out and not do an arpeggiated thing. So, using that finger picking stuff, you can add certain modifications in there like that. Make sense to people? Alright, shall we play this one again? Thumbs up to play it again? Okay, got 2 thumbs up. Alright, again, I'm going to count to 3 and we come in. 1, 2, 3. There you go. It's a beautiful arrangement. It's by Ruth Randall. You know, she's made some incredibly good arrangements. Alright, moving on. We have Joy to the World. And just see if I can make it a little bigger. Yay. Easier to see. So again, it's a good idea to just peruse it a little bit and say, oh, you know, we do have a few repeating patterns in here. Oops, I can't see all of the notes, so we gotta do that. Let's make it a little smaller. Okay. Whoops, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Technology, Lena, technology. It's something you learned a long time ago. All right. So, we're just going to play this, and it is in 2/4 time. I'll count to 4, and we will come in. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Woohoo! So again, this comes down onto the heading of a lot of chording. And so you want to maybe look for places where you can just pick the passing notes. You know, for example, the first measure, you've got a long note to hold, and then a 6.5, and then the 3/5 is a really fast note. So that's a good place to pick, to just pick the 5. So that's one thing to consider. The other thing to consider about this song is that it really helps to sing it. I've mentioned that multiple times. It's true. And then the other thing to realize is sometimes it helps to just strum it out. So let's play this again. Maybe I'll play it a little better. I'll count to 4 and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Ah. Third line. Yes, it's a very joyous tune. Alright, let's move on to our last song for tonight. Up on the Housetop. Yeah. So in some cases, you know, you might want to actually put in some stops. You know, if you're doing, if you're playing for emphasis. So it's really a choice that you have to make when you're sort of, I mean, the songs have been arranged and it's on the tab, but you're still playing the song. So when you play the song and learn the song, you get to add different things in it. Alright, I'm going to count to 4. We'll play it slowly and then we'll come in. You can just play the melody notes if you want. Again, there's a lot of chords in here, so consider just playing, picking the passing notes if you want to. But we'll count to 4 and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you notice, I use that technique of strumming in and out on the eighth notes in this song that I mentioned before. So on the quarter notes, I'm just strumming out, but on the eighth notes, I'm gonna strum out and then strum back in again, and that just helps if you haven't really perfected your in and out strumming. That really helps to start perfecting that. Hey, play that again. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Play something else. Does anyone have something else they want me to play or go back to? We are at 6:29. Oh, wait. We'll play this one more time, and then I'll turn off the share. All right, count to 4, and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, let me get this off. Stop sharing. And turn my video camera around so I can actually see people. Yay. Alright, well, I hope that was fun for people. I hope it provided some... Yeah? Okay.
Thank you, Lena. That was great.
Alright. And yeah, thank you for being here. And I hope everyone has a peaceful and joyous holiday season. Yes.
You too, and thank you.
You also.
Thank you.
Well done.
That was fun. Thank you very much.
All right. All right. Bye.
Bye.